Hey everybody, welcome back. Here's another flight from just recently here. So I want to say one thing right here. Just taking off. Wasn't making much altitude. I shouldn't have probably flown right over the trees here. Not a good place I could have landed, so I kind of turned around and angled myself back towards the edge of the grass there. So this is my second flight on the Nitro 200. I've got about 3.5 hours after this flight on it. Me and my buddies John and Nate, we decided to go up and see how high we could get. Or at least till we got bored. So one thing, I fixed the primer issue on the last one, so I didn't have the bubbles and some of the hesitation that I had in the last video that you probably couldn't tell, but I had it. And so I fixed that, no hesitation, but I still wasn't getting quite max RPM. I talked to some of the guys at Aviator PPG, and they told me to make sure that my carb adjustment was right, because it typically gets bumped when you're installing. And I found my high needle was about 1/8 of a turn in, a little too much. So it seems like on the ground now it's doing a lot better. We'll go see on the next flight. Also, I had to adjust my idle a little bit. I was having low idle issues during this flight and the last flight, so I bumped it up just a tad. It wasn't set any in currently. So here's us up at about 6,500 feet. Me, Nate, and John, we had a few jackets we could put on, and we decided to see how long it would take us to get up here. It was like half an hour. And again, mine wasn't quite climbing as fast as it should have been, because I was limited to about 6,900 RPM. Something to look forward to in one of the future videos here soon. I went on eProps and ordered the 3-blade version of the 125cm prop. We'll see how that does compared to this one. Maybe I'll make some kind of comparison video I'll bring both props out, try one, see how many feet per minute I can make on the GPS, and then switch props and try it again same day. So something I noticed about this camera angle, I've been fiddling with this. I've only used it a couple times. This is the homemade arrow version with the arrow shaft, and I aimed it up more this time, so it's better than the last video I used it in, but it's still a little too far down, so I gotta make sure I angle it up even a little more in the next video. But it seems to be doing pretty good. Here's a little flyby. After floating down for a while from 6,500 feet, I decided to play a little bit down low. It is actually kind of boring up at the higher heights. I mean, it's pretty to see, but it takes a long time to get up there, it uses a lot of fuel, it's kind of chilly, and there's not a whole lot extra to see but the fact that you're high up near the clouds. So we all agreed after this flight that it's more fun to chase deer and things like that down low in the fields. Also a note, one of my lamels broke. I don't know when it broke, but after this flight I pulled it off and it was cracked in 2 pieces. I'm not sure why. So about this time I heard a Beechcraft Bonanza come in, and heard him on the radio. I have aviation headset on, and heard him come in, and I made a call out, let him know we would be out of the area so he would be safe to land. And you should be able to see him right here on the right. So after that, after we cleared the runway nicely, figured I'd go and try to do a little speed bar. And I was running out of time, trying not to stay out too late. So figured I'd just fiddle with this a little bit. For those of you who haven't tried the speed bar, it's a fantastic way to have varying speeds without necessarily being in on all out on your trims. I like to use the speed bar at the white line on the Spyder. Only in the smoothest of air would I want to let the trims out and use the speed bar at the same time. So this property's got a beautiful pond here. It doesn't look like anybody's been here recently. It's kind of overgrown, and I don't know if somebody uses this as a summer home or if it's maybe someone's extra property or something like that, but it sure is a beautiful place to not have anyone here. Another note about making these high flights, I know some folks have commented to me that I know that they haven't been up super high, and you know, I am a pilot as well, and I'm used to checking the winds aloft, and not that you can't go up in higher winds, but you know, you've got to really plan out your day before you go try to do that. If there's any heavy winds up there, you might not be able to make your landing zone that you came from or where you took off from. So if you're going to go up, you might need to coordinate with somebody to pick you up. But to this day, there was less than 5 mile an hour winds up there. We didn't feel any change from ground level to 6,500 feet. No real winds. Maybe 2 to 5 knots, something like that. Really looking forward to trying the motor out again, hopefully tomorrow morning, and seeing if I get better climb rate because of the RPM being a little limited here. I'm also anxious to see if that extra 10 pounds or so, or 10 or 12 pounds of extra thrust is noticeable when I switch props. It's not going to be any tornado, but it'll be a little better. Maybe it'll boost me up towards a monster. Alright, it's about time to end this flight. I appreciate all you guys coming out and enjoying the video, and hopefully enjoy it. One day I'm going to get a mic that I can use in flight. That'll be a little more enjoyable, I think, for the video content. Here it's not, it hasn't been wet recently, so the grass is nice and dry. It's a lot softer than the tarmac, and I keep expecting myself, if I land on the asphalt, to trip and do a faceplant, so I figure the grass is a better option. And there we go. We got the other guys are coming in right behind me. They stayed up a little longer. So John here on the blue wing, his kill switch is starting to act funny. We got to check the connections on it. So he can't shut his engine off when he's coming in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I prefer the shut the engine off 30 or 40 feet up and commit. I don't like to have the engine on because I came from the clutchless. Thanks again, guys. You guys take care, and happy paramotoring.